Hi, I'm Jacopo Reggio. I'm 21 years old. I'm from Naples. This is my promotional video for my live set that I perform live on streaming on YouTube on the 23rd of May. In this video, I'm going to explain how I performed live with Ableton Live with all my setup that you can see behind me. And let's go. Back in 2023, I released my first official instrumental album called The Random Sunset Mix, a little EP of 5 tracks for about 15 minutes of music that reflects the chill house and ambient atmosphere that create a perfect sound that, in my opinion, is perfect to be listened during the sunset, during the classical live set in the beach bar at the sea. So after 2 years, I thought, why don't perform it live? We can see like artists like FKJ that in their live set, thanks also the technological development in the last years, this is not only be able to practice play live with a DJ console, but the new hybrid setup that are born during the last years, such as the push for Ableton or like these two controllers that I have behind me, and they took inspiration from that artists that are capable to integrate the classical DJ performance, so the transition between the tracks and all the effects that are playing live, with also the possibility to play live instruments like the piano that is behind me now. As you can see, I got for performing live, I got two controllers by Akai. I got this APC Mini MK2. It was built exclusively for Ableton. In fact, the interface reproduced the same interface in the session view in Ableton. Then I used my MIDI mix controller. If you can see, I try to recreate the DJ console, at least for this part, for this section of the controller. I got my knob for the effect that we are going to see later on Ableton. I got my two deck here. I use only deck A, the deck B I didn't use, so I mix the track in the same deck, and later I will show you how I do that. But I wanted anyway integrate the deck B maybe for the future if I want to integrate with the second part of the album. These two sections are dedicated for a specific control to my instruments. So now we are on Ableton, let's have a look at the session. The first thing that I did was open the old project of the album production and literally break down track by track, stem by stem, and loading them in my user library here. After I did this work, I loaded the stems on my live set session. In fact, in this group called Songs, if you can see, we have all the 5 tracks that I performed live, and then break it down inside the console group. Inside the deck, we find each group for all the elements of the song. So we have a group for all the instruments of the song. So we have a drums group, a percussion group, a bass group, a vocal group, and at the end, the 3 elements that I'm performing live. So the piano, the pad, and the instrument rack synth. Inside the background group for each track, we have all the instrument, all the sound that I'm not performing live that were consolidated in the audio files. At the end, we have this group called Tools, where I manage some technical aspect. The main question here was, how can I change the tempo between the songs in a natural way, and if I'm performing live, how can I have the versatility to go up and down in BPM like DJs do? I found this device for Max for Life on an online forum, capable of managing BPM and tempo changes in a gradual way, depending on the length of the beat. So if you have a look here inside, where we have the transition, if I play the track, we are seeing that the BPM and tempo are changing in a gradual way. My songs, as you can see here, have all these small BPM and tempo changes variation. But with this tool, the transition happens more in a natural way, without making the listener notice unexpected tempo changes. The other tool, also from Max for Life, that is called the Multimap, helped me to solve the communication problems between my controllers. In fact, the knobs and the faders on my controllers send the same MIDI numbers to Ableton, getting confused with the mapping that I made. Practically simple. In the past, if I close the filter of the drums from the MIDI mix controller, the piano volume fader was lowered because the APC Mini received the same MIDI numbers for a different function. So thanks to this tool, I was able in some way to freeze some fundamental parameters, the pan and the output volume. In this way, I managed to perform in a natural way without having the issues that something goes wrong. I managed this problem without having to open the editing software from the controller, which have taken me up so much time. In this session, as you can see, there are all my cue points for all the songs. So we have the name of the pieces that I'm going to perform and the breakdown for every part of the song. So we got the intro, the verse, the break, the read, After the last chorus of the last songs, I have this scene called Hand. This way I was able to launch the scene and not the individual clip to move from one section to another of the song. If we still look at the scene, if you have a look to the transition and some of the break, the follow action function of the clip is active. In this way, during my performance, every time I have to switch from one song to another, or I need my hands free to play with the effects, the scene change up automatically, giving me a time of 8 bar for prepare it to the switch. The launch of the individual clip instead was fundamental to create a dynamic variation in the set, with many stop and go, and making the songs empty in some point to create expectation from the public, and also mix the songs together. All the clips, as you can see, are in loop mode, so as to repeat for the number of bars that the clips is made up for, and during the transition, playing with the filters, for example on the perk, I had the possibility of changing with the perk of the next song, and reopening the filters with the fake effect that we are seeing a little bit, to mix the songs in a fluid way. Now let's have a look to the effect that I insert on my console group. We can find this audio effect track that I programmed by myself. Inside this track, all the parameters that I want to use for my live set are mapped to a macros that mapped and asking to the effect knobs of my MIDI mix with the MIDI map control. We find in this audio rack specifically a low pass and high pass filter. Then I got a phaser that I use only in the last pieces. A bit repeater that was very helpful to manage some DJ techniques during my performing live, especially in the sudden shuffle motion, because with this bit repeat I can create a little loop for a little section of the song as the DJ do during the live performance, creating more groove and unexpected changes during the set. And then outside this audio effect track we find the fade tool that I was talking before. This fade tool combines filters with a delay. It is a very reminiscent effect that DJ uses. Still talking about the transition, the goal here was to have a coherent passages between one song and another, and to overcome the issues of harmonic passages in the clip of the transition scene. For the harmonic instruments I work on the envelope section of the clip, and by automating the transposition and the gain parameters during the transition, combined with the automatic BPM tempo changes, we obtain a sort of pitch down effect with the fade filter, allowed me to create a coherent and a precise harmonic transition. You see that the last clip of the third song have this automation of on the transposition from 0 to -6 semitones, while in the first clip of the fourth song inside the transition scene we have this gently gain fade in order to mix the track gently. Also in some clip like this, in particular I reversed in this case the pad while he is increasing in volume until it reach the maximum and the exact moment in which we move to the scene of the next song. During the performance, as you see during my live streaming, I played various instruments live. I played a part of the pad in the first piece, and on the pad in particular I played also with this effect called the Catomatic. In fact, this effect is mapped on my pad chain on my MIDI mix controller. Mute effect, I can open and close this effect, and with these parameters I can change the filter of the frequency and the auto pan rate. Then I performed a piano, I performed live, and on the piano I insert in the same way with this mute button. I can mute and unmute this echo effect through the feedback. The dry wet with these knobs help me to create a dreaming texture during the performance. At the end we have this synth instrument sync rack, and if you notice during the performance I didn't perform only one synth. In fact, starting from the synth from the original pieces, I uploaded into an instrument rack with this chain selector that I map on my knob over here. I can gently switch from one synth to another. If you can see, the synths are called as the name of the songs, but this possibility helped me to use the synth that I use only for one song for multiple songs and going over the production part. And the last song, instead I have a classical synth, I got this drum rack that I created with the chop of the flute of the first song that I performed with the APC Mini with the note mode. So if I switch to note with chain selector, I'm going to select the part where there is this drum rack. In this way I have the possibility to perform live with APC Mini and also try to recreate the paths of some of the professional DJ consoles that allow you to play, for example, a drum beat. I got this utility with the gain mapped always on my ESC instrument sync chain. And during the performance of the first synth lead, after I finished the performance, I gently, with the gain tool, fade out the volume of the synth. On the drums and percussion, as you see, I got this gently filter over here that helped me a lot to do my transition. Also, I put the fade effect that we see before on the console group also on the background. It is used specifically in the transition between the third and the fourth song, fading the background and raising the volume of the percussion, and then decreasing the fade effect of the background to make the background of the next song rise.